What's up, PoE homies? JWar here with another video. So I want to talk to you guys today about currency flipping. What is flipping? Flipping is, it's kind of an obvious thing, but if you guys aren't familiar with how the term applies to Path of Exile, it's buying things on the market at a low price and selling them at a higher price. Now, there's a lot of different ways you could do this. Today, we're going to talk pretty much exclusively about raw currency flipping. Okay, now this is not going to involve anything like divination card flipping. There's a couple other different things you can do with flipping, but we're going to talk about the most rudimentary form of it today, and that is a basic currency flipping, where we are buying items with high liquidity. So what that means is we're talking about Exalted orbs, we're talking about Harvest Life Force, we're talking about Orbs of Conflict, we're talking about basically every type of currency in the game, Tainted Fusings, Eldritch currency. All that stuff is high liquidity because people use them. When they use them, they get deleted, and people use a lot of them. So that's the kind of items we want. They're always going to have a high demand, and they're always going to be able to be flipped pretty well because they're constantly being generated and they're constantly being used in the economy. High liquidity. That's what I mean when I say that term, and that's what we're talking about, the type of items. One thing, and we're going to use this as the example in this video, is Life Force. Harvest Life Force is probably one of the best things to flip from a raw currency flipping perspective, and I'm going to go over how you do that, why it's good, and how much currency you can make, how much currency I made with it early in the league, this league. I made about 1 mirror with it in the first week or two, week and a half probably. I didn't do exclusively flipping. I made about 3 mirrors, but flipping was one of the things I was doing while I was doing other things to make currency. I was trying kind of a hideout warrior league start approach this league. Basically because I had never done it before and I just wanted to see what it was like. It's not something I normally do. It's not something I really tell people to do all the time, but it's just another tool in your PoE arsenal of currency making methods you can choose to employ or not employ. It can be very, very good. And it's one of the best ways in the game to make currency if you want to really, really invest into it. All right, guys, so let's look at actually how to get into flipping. Now, the example we're going to be using today is Harvest Life Force. This is the thing I've done a lot of flipping with. It's a very good item to flip if you want to look at something maybe to get started with. It's a popular flip as well, so there's going to be a lot of competition. So what do we want to look at when we start doing this? Well, first of all, let's look at some of the prices. This is the first thing you probably want to investigate if you're looking at getting into any kind of flip. So we could do yellow Life Force. Let's do, for some reason, purple. The margins always seem bad, but let's check out blue to start with here. So I'm going to show you guys. Let's look at the sell price. So this is what people are selling it for right now. So it looks like about 9.2. These ones at the top are generally like kind of price fixy, so probably like 9.1. 9.1 is a safe price to say you could sell it at, right? So we know we could sell blue Harvest Life Force at around 9.1, 9,000, 9,100. All right, let's look at competition for buying. Now this is a buy order, and a buy order is very important because when you're doing flipping, you want everybody coming to you to buy and sell. You don't want to have to go to other people's hideouts. That makes it very inefficient to do flipping. So how you do this is you put up buy orders. And this is something I didn't even think people use, but it's very common. So all you do is you hit this arrow, right? We're looking at a sell order right now. I want blue Life Force. I have divines, right? Okay, let's look at a buy order. Well, I want to sell my blue Life Force and I want divines for it. This is what people will do to sell Life Force to you. Let's look at these margins. We've got this one guy who's down pretty low at about 92, 99. You've got this guy who's at 94. You got this guy who's at 95. Now the margin we know is about 91, right? We can sell at about 91. We could probably get away with selling at 9. That's about a 5% margin there. So we can make about 500 Life Force per sale. I would say that's not a very good margin, but for the example here, let's just go with Primal Life Force. So how do we set up a buy order for Primal Life Force if we wanted to get into selling this? Let's look at setting up a buy order now. If you want to buy and sell, you need a stash tab with buy, sell orders in it. Now, how to set up a buy order? You go here, click on the About tab on Path of Exile, and you will look at these item tags here. Now, you need to go down and let's look at exotic currency. We're trying to sell or buy Primal Life Force. So that's the tag for it there. So you have to come in here and you have to set a note. If you want to buy in Chaos, you set a note. Right now we're going to buy in Divines because buying in Chaos takes a little bit of math. So if we're setting up a buy order for blue Life Force, we click on the Divine Orb and we price our Divine Orb to sell, right? We're selling Divine Orbs for blue Life Force, which means we're buying blue Life Force, right? That's what we're trying to do here. It gets a little tricky doing this. Sometimes I get a little confused myself. Anyway, if we want to be competitive, maybe we can buy it for 9,499 over 1, right? So that's Primal Life Force. right? And that should be it. Let's see. We're going to leave. We're going to come back in. That should update the trade website. Let's see if we now appear on the buyers list for Blue Life Force. And where are we? Yeah, we're here right now. Okay. So that's how you set up a buy order, right? If we wanted to be competitive, more competitive, as you can see, this guy right here, see how much money this guy has? 2,400 divines. He is probably flipping tons of items, doing nothing but flipping all day. That's how he's made that much currency. If you look and checked a whole bunch of other items, you're going to see this same account name, probably doing a whole bunch of other flipping. Another thing you want to do, right, because it's only showing I have 3 divine orbs worth of stuff to buy. That means people can, at max, only buy 3 at a time for me. That's not really good. So when you're doing this, you also need to make your currency tab public so that people can see that you have currency to sell, more currency to sell, right? So you have to put it as public so people can pull from your whole stash of divine orbs. That's how you set up a buy order. Sell order is easy. Sell order is how much we sell it for. We're buying for 9,400, 9,500 we're selling. We said we could probably sell it at probably 9,000, right? So exact price, you do note, price 9,000 or 1/9,000th of a divine orb, right? You can get a little clever with this. You can do 9,001 to put yourself at the top of the list, make it look more appealing. But that's how you set it up. 1 divine orb. I think that's the code for divine orb. Let's see real quick. We need to check. So currency, divine. It's actually just divine. So if we're going to sell 1 divine orb, it should actually change here. Not 1/9,001 of a divine. Yeah, there we go. So now we're buying at 9,499 and we're selling at 1/9,000. So that's about a 5% margin there. Not great. I would not actually do this at this margin. It's just an example, right? So I'm getting people that want to buy my divine orbs. Right now we're getting divine orbs for primal. We're getting divine orbs for vivid. There's another vivid sale. So this is kind of more what it's like when you're going really fast. There's a lot of people going to be in your hideout. You're going to be doing a lot of trades. I have trade macros set up to try to, let's see, this guy wanted 2 divines for 7,100. Okay, this guy wanted, you're going to be doing buying and selling quite a lot. I got to keep track of all these people. This guy wanted the primal, I think. I was buying primal from this guy for 2 divines, 1,859. And this guy wanted vivid for 1 divine. So it's a lot of stuff to keep track of, but as you can see, if you set up your buy orders correctly, you're going to get quite a lot of people messaging you constantly for buying and selling. This is only with 2 items, right? And these are at very competitive prices. If I didn't want as many people messaging me right now, I could bring down the price or push up the price so it's more expensive for people, so I'm not the best buyer for everything. Because when you're the #1 buyer for everything, you're going to get spammed, right? You're going to get a lot of trades constantly. This is me with the best price in divines right now on 2 different items, and that's just blue and yellow life force. And as you can see, I've gotten quite a lot of it. I think we just spent about 15 divines buying up blue and yellow. So if I were to sell all these, I'd probably make about a divine in those trades right there. So as you can see, that's kind of a little bit of the potential of it, but that was kind of a rush of trades. Sometimes you have downtimes. This is me just sitting here. I have the same amount of trades up on the website or up on the trade site, and I'm not getting any messages right now. And this is why you want to constantly be doing trades if you're going to do this. You want to set up a lot of different items. I'd probably want to also be doing purple life force. I'd probably want to be doing eldritch currency. And when you do this, you have to set a divine aside if you want to price in divines, or a chaos inside, so you could price in chaos as well. And you want to have a lot of chaos in your stash tab to be able to sell and buy a lot. And you want to have a lot of divines in your stash tab so people can see you're able to purchase the amount they want to sell you. So make sure you have this listed to public, and make sure if you're going to get into this, and if you really want to go full blown on it, you have a lot of different items up for sale to buy and sell, so you're constantly getting trades. Again, I'll mention this again, buying is more important than selling. You don't want to be in the position where you don't have anything to sell. It's okay if you have a lot of things to sell and you haven't sold them yet if you're still buying things. Obviously, you have to have a lot of currency to do this, to be able to pull that off. Or if you don't have anything to sell, you're making no money at all. If you have a lot of sales waiting to be sold and you're still buying things and you're still acquiring more potential sales, that's good. You don't want to be in a position where you have nothing to sell and you're not getting any messages to be sold anything for potential sales. So that's kind of a breakdown of what it looks like to do a little bit of flipping, and that's kind of, a little bit of explanation there of how you want to approach it, how you want to do it, and how I've had success doing it. This league, I haven't done it a ton. There's people that are probably way better at it than I am, That's just my tips and tricks. Again, I made about a mirror with it, probably a little bit more than a mirror in the first week and a half as one of my main currency making methods. I had about 3 mirrors in the first week and a half of the league, which is pretty good. It's not amazing. A lot of people can make a lot more, but I think a lot of people would be very happy with that amount, and that's what I was able to do this league, trying out some hideout warrior strats along with flipping. And yeah, this may not be the best thing for you to do, but it's just something that to be aware of, to know about if you want to add it to your currency making arsenal. Okay guys, and the last thing I want to talk about in this video for it is the pros and cons of flipping. We'll go into why it might be good for you, why it might not be good for you to do flipping, and kind of the potential of it as well, and some of the scalability things with flipping. Pros and cons of flipping: it is probably one of the best money making methods in the game. You can make a ton of currency doing flipping. It's probably right behind mirror tier crafting for the amount of currency you can make with it. It scales exponentially, and let me just explain that for a minute and we'll get back into the other pros and cons. But you can scale it up exponentially to where your buying power with the amount of money you can invest into flipping can increase in a way to where you're only doing trades with a myriad of items, right? You can do almost, maybe you've got every item in the game, you have somewhat of a decent market share on, you're invested heavily into a lot of items for large amounts, and when you sell those items, you're only selling large quantities, so that each time you invest your time into doing trades, say you're trading for 1 divine per trade, your trades are worth 1 divine, and you're making a 10% margin, which is probably the minimum amount of margin I would recommend for making trades for doing flipping. You're making 0.1 divines, right? But if you have a lot of buying power, and each time you invest your time into doing trades, you're doing a 10 divine trade and you're making 10%, you're making a whole divine every time you do a trade. If you have that buying power, you can definitely do that. But another pro, arguably maybe a con, is you do not have to do any type of mapping. You don't have to, you're just hideout warrioring it. Some people think that might be a con, some people might think that's a pro. I'm not going to do that too much in this video. But yeah, you don't have to leave your hideout, you don't need a character to do it, you don't need a build to do it. You can just, as long as you have some purchasing power to get going, to start flipping, you can continually do it and scale up your currency in your hideout exclusively. Can be a pro, can be a con. I'm going to say it's a pro. And that's about it. So let's go over the cons. There's a lot of cons to it as well. It can be very boring, one of the cons. It can be very boring. You can't really do anything else while you're doing it. You have to make yourself available for people PMing you for trades. It's quite, it keeps you very busy when you're doing it and when you're doing it effectively, because essentially, if you're going to devote your time to doing exclusively flipping, you're going to be getting trades constantly. People are going to be messaging you constantly. You need to be constantly available to respond and do the trades. And then another con is you are taking yourself out of the option of ever getting good drops in your maps, right? Because you're not doing maps, right? So you're never going to drop a headhunter doing flipping, right? Obviously, because you aren't doing any maps, you're not killing any monsters. So that one's kind of an obvious con, but it has to be said that you take yourself out of the option for getting just random good drops in your maps. I could keep going on about this for a little bit longer, but I don't make the video too long, so that's going to do it for this one. If you guys found this helpful, if you learned something, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, really helps me out, and thanks for watching.